6 men are now being questioned over a video showing a model of Grenfell Tower being burned on a bonfire. 5 of them handed themselves into police last night after the footage was shared online. Tonight, a 6th was arrested. Earlier, it was condemned by the chair of the Grenfell inquiry. This evening, the grandfather of one of the youngest suspects told ITV News he was sickened by what he saw. With the latest, here's our correspondent, Simon Harris.
A small patch of scorched grass in a suburban back garden. A few yards away, what appears to be an England flag lies crumpled on the ground. Is this evidence of the shameful bonfire party which has caused so much anger? In the now notorious video posted online, an England flag is clearly visible behind the burning brazier as the cardboard effigy of Grenfell Tower is lowered onto the flames. The house is thought to belong to Cliff Smith, seen here with his son Bobby Connell. They're believed to be among 5 men who handed themselves into police last night.
This is not Bobby. It's not Bobby, and Bobby is not even in it. And if you watch the video, you'll see that Bobby is nowhere near when they put this thing onto the fire. He's in the background.
As police with cameras visited the house in South Norwood, neighbours spoke of their disgust.
As soon as I saw it, I thought it was evil because I heard laughing. There was laughing during about ninjas. So I know they were talking about Muslim women with the hair over their faces, and they're laughing at it. You know, as my neighbour says, is the fact that they took time to make it. That is the worst bit about it.
How can anybody think that this is right? It's a horrible thing, and I feel that the whole nation, our whole street, our whole town is feeling the pain for Grenfell.
Yesterday I was quite angered when I saw it, but now I just feel sad for everybody that's involved in Grenfell, everybody has to relive everything that they've been going through.
At the official inquiry into the Grenfell tragedy, the chairman offered his thoughts before today's hearing.
The inquiry is aware of the offensive video that was posted online yesterday. It must be shocking and distressing to all those involved, whatever way their involvement, whatever form their involvement took, whether as bereaved, survivors, or indeed members of the wider community. I'm very pleased to hear that the authorities are taking the matter very seriously and that investigation is underway.
Throughout the day, 5 men were questioned by police in Croydon on suspicion of causing harassment, alarm or distress under the Public Order Act. This evening, police announced the arrest of a 6th person, a 19-year-old man.
This is a really complicated case legally, isn't it, Simon?
Yes, these sort of cases can be very tricky to prove or disprove. Section 4A of the Public Order Act talks about somebody being guilty of intentionally harassing, distressing or causing alarm. Now, they can do that with threatening, abusive or insulting words or behaviour, or they can do it with writing or with visible representations. But there is a defence. If the person who's accused did the alleged offence in a private dwelling and had no reason to believe that what they said or did was going to be seen outside that private dwelling, they have a defence. At the moment, of course, it's worth pointing out that nobody has been charged with any offence yet.
Simon Harris, thank you.
Good evening. Police say it was brutal and senseless. The mayor described those responsible as animals. The attack on 98-year-old Peter Gouldstone has left him critically ill. He has lived at his home in Enfield for 60 years, but at some point on Sunday night, burglars broke in, stole his TV and beat him up. Peter was found the following morning, barely conscious, in his bedroom. His son told us today he just wants those responsible to be locked up. From Enfield, our correspondent Simon Harris reports.
Peter Gouldstone is lucky to be alive, no thanks to the burglars who left him for dead. Today, the 98-year-old retired telephone engineer was fighting for life in hospital. His severe injuries include 2 bleeds on the brain. Mr Gouldstone has lived alone in a house at New Southgate in North London since his wife Joan died 5 years ago. Yesterday morning, his son Simon found him battered and semi-conscious on the floor of his bedroom.
It's ludicrous, isn't it? It shows absolutely no feelings for your fellow members of the human race at all, does it? I mean, it's just appalling.
What have the doctors said about his chances of recovering?
Early days, I'm afraid. I mean, his condition is stable, but you know, with a head injury, it's at his age, it's not going to be a short process.
At the back of the house, part of Mr Gouldstone's garden fence has been pulled down. The kitchen door was open. The house had been ransacked and an old television was missing.
It was only due to a member of the public noticing damage to the property that the alarm was raised and he was discovered. If this member of the public had not intervened, then it is almost certain that Mr Gouldstone would have succumbed to his injuries.
Mr Gouldstone has lived in this road for more than 60 years, still able to care for himself into his 90s. But increasingly, crime has become a worry here. One neighbour is said to have been burgled 6 times. Terry Garner and his daughter Nikki have had enough. They've sold up and are moving to Devon.
So glad we're getting out of London, to be honest, and can't come quick enough. But yeah, it's just not nice around being in London anymore.
I don't like it. We're moving because of what London has turned into. It's been on my mind for the last few years, but it's like it's just like now, and the family is saying to me, "You should get out."
Tonight, detectives appealed to the public to help them catch Mr Gouldstone's attackers. In recent months, it is teenagers who all too often have been the victims of violence. But this was an attack on a man not far off his 100th birthday. The people behind London's violent crime epidemic have no respect for age, young or old.
What sort of animal assaults a 98-year-old man?
Is London turning into the Wild West?
No, not at all. Most Londoners won't experience these sorts of horrific crimes.
There have been many pictures of victims of violent London, few as shocking as this. Simon Harris, ITV News, New Southgate.